This video was a request by Mr. Sad Pathetic Taxidermy Otter. Welcome everyone to another lesson with yours truly, Izzy von Luismenverg. Today, we're discussing mankind's greatest desire of all time. Besides getting unlimited money. That's everyone's unlimited desire. Except, think about this, if everyone had unlimited money, then money would be worthless, wouldn't it? Actually, if even just one person had unlimited money, then the economy would completely go kapup. Money would become as useless as sand, and we'd have to find another currency, and... Sorry, got off topic. I just like to be realistic sometimes. Anyway, no, we're talking about man's second greatest desire. The ability to reach the skies above. Well, I've already achieved that dream. I live on a planet. And not a dwarf planet, it's a planet. What am I talking about? Let's just get to this. Today, we're talking about man's history with flight. But first, we need to discuss what it means to fly. In order to truly fly, you need to be able to move around off the ground. If you can get in the air and move around, but you can't move upwards on your own, then you can only glide. Currently, only 3 animals nowadays can reach true flight: birds, bats, and some insects. Though in the past there were pterosaurs, which were reptiles that could fly, but they're dead now, so they don't count anymore. Anyway, in order to be capable of flight, birds and bats have evolved to be very light, and they have wings longer than their body, which allows them to lift themselves off the ground. And considering their hollow bones, they have little weight to them. Some birds are better flyers than others. Hummingbirds are great at flying and can even move backwards, but vultures are pretty heavy, so they need some, extra help to get off the ground. Meanwhile, insects are far, far better at flying than anyone else, especially dragonflies. Those guys can literally do anything in the air. Anyway, now that we know what flight is, let's talk about humans in flight. Since the beginning, man has longed for the sky, and as time went on, people kept looking for a way to reach the sky. Just look at how many myths and folklore have some sort of artifact that allows humans to fly, or how often powerful creatures have the ability to fly. Unfortunately for these people, they were limited by the technology of their day, and as such, they couldn't really make any significant progress in reaching the sky. But they didn't give up, and through the millennia, some people thought that we could get ourselves into the sky by using fake wings. But since humans are heavier than birds, this had predictable results. One important invention in history was China's invention of the kite. The design of the kite allowed it to float through the air, and so people figured that if they could find a way to use the design of a kite, but have it lift a human, we could fly. A few centuries later, famous inventor and painter Leonardo da Vinci rather famously made many blueprints for flying machines. Sadly, though, he was a great inventor, but a lot of his designs weren't very aerodynamic, and as such, they were failures. But these designs gave the blueprints for later inventions, so thank you, Mr. Da Vinci. One major milestone in the history of flight was the invention of the hot air balloon, where 2 French brothers figured out that if they made a large enough structure and filled it with smoke, they could successfully lift a person into the sky. However, this was very slow and didn't allow the same control as desired. It's a good step, but not what people were looking for. And later on, people started inventing devices that allowed people to glide, which was cool, but it wasn't true flight yet. Throughout the rest of the 1800s, people started making more devices to try to obtain the true flight people had been looking for. But sadly, they always ended up either being too heavy to fly, or they had a tendency to get knocked out of the air by wind. But finally, the big breakthrough came along, when 2 brothers, the Wright brothers, who were right about what they did, who by researching the history of flight, made the first successful plane. It could fly super fast, but it only lasted a few seconds. But they improved it and made machines that could stay in the air for far longer times. And this was the big breakthrough for flight. The airplane was now a thing. And everyone spent the next decades improving them, shaping them, allowing them to be what they want. Eventually, they started being used in combat. They started making them larger, which could carry people far distances. Jets were invented, which were like super fast and could get you anywhere in like a super short amount of time. So yeah, that's the plane. And just a few years after the plane was invented, the helicopter was invented in France, which allowed a more controllable vehicle for flight. Nowadays, flight is a common part of life thanks to airplanes getting better, and as we go on, flight will just get easier and easier. But whether or not we ourselves can be capable of flight is pretty debatable. But hey, maybe one day someone will come up with a mutagenic serum that gives us all, like, supermassive wings that we can fly, but they also scramble our brains, turning us into inhuman monsters that are hell-bent on destroying cities and burning crops to the ground and ripping the heads off of anyone who has brown eyes and... Sorry. Or a more simple solution would just be for jetpacks to become as common as cars. I hope that happens. That would be cool. Well, I've been Izzy von Luismenverg, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed our history of flight. Goodbye, everybody!